When it comes to learning guitar, we all have our own paths, our own victories, our own struggles. And looking back at my time as a beginner guitarist... Take that away, please. Although, seeing that picture, there's quite a few things I miss from that time. Being so excited to learn even the easiest things. Hearing the thing you heard on the record, coming out of your own guitar. I mean, that's a magical feeling I probably won't ever relive with that same intensity. That makes me a bit nostalgic, the good old days, right? And I had the realization that there were quite a few things I would have wanted to tell my younger self when he was starting out. Just as a mentor, Sensei Paul, as a voice in the back of your head. I'm sure he would have liked that if he would know how my chops are today. No, I don't think so. I asked the same question over at my Instagram. What advice would you have wanted to give yourself when you were a beginner? And the resemblances were striking. It's funny, we all realize the importance of certain things in a later stage in life. But it's never too late to stop doing the bad stuff and start doing it right. So let's get going. The absolute #1 thing is rhythm, timing, groove. And you might think rhythm isn't sexy, and if I do that sweep picking everyone praises me, but if I play in time, well, that doesn't impress my friends. First, find new friends. Second, let me illustrate the importance of it. Timing is like the foundation of a building. Even if you try to build the simplest things on it, if the foundation fails, everything falls apart. With great time, playing even the simplest things will sound so good. And with bad time, even the most complex things will sound terrible. There you have it, right? I would tell myself not to practice anything different really, because I did practice a lot of scales and songs back in the day, and I enjoyed it a lot, which is very important too, but at least play them with a metronome for maybe 15 minutes for every practice session. And I would tell myself to practice solos and improvisation with a click. Playing along with the song is not the same as doing it by yourself. The metronome really reveals the flaws in your time, so you can fix it, recalibrate your rhythm and your internal timing. That was really an eye-opener for me, and it would have saved me a lot of time fixing it later. #2, I'm seeing so many people regretting not taking the time to learn the notes on the neck earlier. And funny enough, you only have to do it once, and from there on out, everything will make so much more sense. Playing the same lick in different positions. So if your plan is to learn it eventually, better do it today so you can profit from it every minute going forward. And I see not knowing the notes on the neck a bit like walking in a big city clueless and trying to find the hotspots. Sometimes you might bump into a cool thing, but it took you forever to find, and it happened mostly by chance. Until someone hands you the map with all the sweet spots clearly marked. This makes navigating it so much more easier, right? You will be way faster at the destination. So learn them, and from there on out it will open your eyes and give you so much more insight in the guitar and the workings of the fretboard. If you're absolutely new to this and interested in it, you can always check out my music theory series here on YouTube. Or of course check out my beginner course, Learn, Practice, Play, if you really want to dive all in, where we take a look at all these things in one package and how notes on the neck relate to chords, scales, etc, etc. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, for #3 there is something that I have to tell myself over and over again, even to this date, and that is to sing with the guitar as you're playing the notes, especially when improvising or noodling. One commenter on Instagram said it brilliantly: spending time connecting the sound of the notes with your voice. And added the following: sing everything you play, and while you do that, the rhythm is more important than note pitch. And yes, 100%, this also helps me or those that are a little bit more insecure about their voice. It's not about making the voice sound nice, it's about really being in touch with the notes you play. And they come out from the heart instead of from the hand or something you remember that doesn't mean anything. Like this. I'm really insecure about this, and I don't know if I will keep this in the final video. So this way you don't go down the road of mindless, meaningless noodling. And I'm sure we've all been there. The guitar is your voice and you're using your own voice to connect it to your mind, really. So I really should be doing this more, and I take an example out of my dear friend Mary Spender, who did it so beautifully in the guitar looping collab we did. Check it out. Alright, here's number 4, and I remember this so well. I was having my first guitar lesson and my teacher said, let's do an improv in A minor, and he started playing some cool chords and I started soloing and it sounded so beautiful. Probably not. Okay, so my best guess, I was probably playing the pentatonic scale, but what did he play? He was just playing some chords out of the blue and it sounded so nice together. Well, he probably knew how to harmonize the scale. This means you turn a scale into a set of chords that work so well together using just the notes from the scale. So for C major, it gives us the chords C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C major. And the same chords go for A minor since that's the relative key. So all these chords will sound good together and you will be able to just use the A minor scale to solo over these chord changes. Just pick any of these chords, play them together, and there you have a backing track of your own. Of course, when you see this, you'll realize that you often see the same combination of chords over and over again, like the 4 magical chords played together. Next up, you're hanging with your friends by the campfire. You pick up the guitar and you start playing. People recognize the tune. Awesome. They start to sing along and the crowd is gathering. You're happy, they're happy, they love you. The tune builds to the chorus and everyone takes a good deep breath and starts singing. Because maybe. But then everyone stops and they stare at you. You look up awkwardly. Oops, you played the wrong chord. You actually only learned the verse and everyone laughs it off, but strangely enough, this was the last time you were ever invited to a party. You give up on guitar and became an assistant to the manager for a small paper company in Pennsylvania. But at night you dream of a different life you could be leading, because maybe if you took the time to also figure out the chorus, you would have toured the world with a mildly successful pop rock band. Who knows? So sad. Next up, I'm going to say a word and I'm actually scared to say it, no joke. Caged. Well, there we are. So the simplest explanation of caged is this. The F major chord is just the E major chord with the capo on fret 1. Is your mind blown? Well, it should be. And not only that, you can do it for every of the 5 open chord shapes. For the C, the A, the G, the E, and the D. Spelling out the magical word caged. So the B chord is just the A chord with the capo on fret 2. The E flat chord is just the capo on fret 3 playing the C shape. You see? So now just remove the capo from the equation, throw it out, use your fingers as a capo, and there you have it. Cage is a way to visualize the fretboard, where we can find our chords all over the neck, our target notes for solos and scales. It helps out massively with voice leading, inversions, you name it, it does it. I made 2 full-length videos going deeper into cage, since it's one of my biggest roadmaps for understanding the neck. So check it out over here. So at number 7, here's one filtered from over 1,250 comments on Instagram. Thank you so much for that, by the way. So many comments were about music theory. Anything from basic understanding of music theory to struggles to learn about what makes a chord a 7th chord. And from figuring out how triads work to not learning just the song, but understanding the theory behind it and applying it to your own playing. And it's funny because the folks that really have an aversion towards learning theory are often the ones that never learned it. So, I mean, I'm down with people not learning theory, sure, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing, but don't hate people that just love doing it. So let's quickly try to answer some of these questions in 1 minute. So every major, minor, sus2, sus4, diminished, augmented chord is called a triad, and they are made out of 3 unique notes. Even when you play a C major chord using 5 strings, it's just 3 unique notes, the C, the E, and the G. These are the first, the third, and the fifth notes from the major scale. And if you use different notes, the 1, the 4, and the 5, we get a sus4 chord. A 1, a 2, and a 5, we get a sus2 chord, and so on and so on. Now for 7th chords, we don't use the 1, the 3, and the 5, but we add the 7th note from the major scale, for example, that will be the B. We add that to the triad and we get a 7th chord, C major 7th. If we add a different note, the flat 7, we get a C 7th. Now I'm also omitting the 5th from the chord because we don't really need a 5th to make the chord sound like a C 7th chord. So that's the first one to go. We have only 6 strings, so sometimes we've got to pick the right ones. If we want to make stranger combinations like C sus4 and a flat 7, we get a C 7 sus4. Or what about a C major 7 sus2? Sus2 chord and add the B major 7th. Anyway, now we just have to learn all the formulas for every chord, and it's not that hard because there's a great deal of logic to it. Mostly. Anyway, that's it. Super exciting. It's so much fun. Let's continue. Oh yeah, this is nice. Next up, number 8. So this is a comment that sums it up nicely. The instrument doesn't make a great player. And wow, this hits home really hard. If you get a better guitar, you won't be a better guitar player. I always linked getting new gear to a phase of learning I was in. So when I got my first Fender Strat, I was heavily into playing stuff like John Mayer, Stevie Ray and Hendrix. I did that on my Les Paul for a long time, and getting that Strat, it really ignited that road even further. It was like an accelerator. But I see it happen the other way around way more often. So I want to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan, let's buy a Strat. No, don't do that, because if you really wanted, you would have been playing Stevie Ray all along. On whatever guitar you had lying around. I have seen people play the song Scuttle Button, you know, that crazy fast blues riff. I made a whole video about, check it out over here. Anyway, I heard people just rip that song on the acoustic guitar because that's the only guitar they had. Gear is good, gear is fun. Good gear is always better than bad gear, but in my experience, it only works as an accelerator and never as an igniter. Alright, next, lucky number 9, sticking to the box. And one commenter on Instagram said, mixing major and minor pentatonic. And this was such an eye-opener for me too, it's funny. When I started out learning guitar, I had no rules. Nothing was holding me back from playing weird-ass stuff. And this resulted into a lot of remarkable things I probably don't want anyone to ever hear, but also in a careless and unique approach to note-chord relations. Then I started learning scales and boxes and patterns. And of course, they provided me lots and lots of valuable information and guidelines. But also there lies the danger of taking these too strictly. These are the note choices we've got and that's it. No, it's not, it's never. There are no wrong notes. Say it with me. There are no wrong notes. Oh, hey Ben.
Oh, hey Paul.
Wait, could you help me demonstrate this? Okay, so Ben was playing all 12 notes, jamming over an A Dorian vibe, and it sounded amazing. And did you realize he did not play one single wrong note?
There are no wrong notes.
Thank you, Ben. That was awesome. Okay, here at number 10, and this might sound weird, but it's learn to play kids songs or birthday songs or old classic folk songs or something along those lines. It's the tunes we all know. Happy Birthday, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, Old MacDonald Had a Farm and what have you. And not just the chords, well, sure, play the chords, but also try playing the melody and the chords together. Like, or even better, why not try playing a fingerstyle version of it? It's seriously a lot of fun to play. But I get it. When you're just starting out, you want to play the things that made you pick up the guitar in the first place. And sure, you better try them out because they're a lot of fun too, and taking that deep dive is just the way to go. But all these tunes are the perfect starting point to get in that kind of playing. Like fingerstyle, like chords, like playing the chords and the melodies together. Because the melodies and chords are so nicely intertwined, and they often are very classic sounding progressions and resolutions that we see very often even in today's music. Talking about that, I've been cooking up an acoustic guitar course for the past months and it's almost ready to launch. March 24th, the doors will open. It takes you from being that campfire guitar player who forgot about the chorus to a well-rounded acoustic guitar player that can play anything from fingerstyle to cool strumming to flat picking in styles like the blues, country and pop and rock and more. And we're covering all things that in my experience make a great acoustic guitar player. Check it out at ACOUSTICADVENTURE.com, where you can already see a sneak peek of what's coming up and be the first one to be notified when the course opens up, and I'm really excited for that. Before we go, I'd love to hear from you what your tips would be, either for yourself or for other beginners. Did you have some aha moments where things just started to click all of a sudden? Things you wish you knew sooner? I'd love to check them out, so leave them in the comments below. Have a lovely day, and remember, it's never too late to stop doing the bad things and start doing it right. Cheers!